So the print that you see being produced went through a series of different problems to be solved. Number one, the original inspiration for the print came from this painting. Whilst the painting has a very strong painterly language, I didn't want the lithograph to replicate purely that painterly language. I thought it was important to try to demonstrate some of the visual qualities of lithography through a variety of different types of stencil. So my initial decision to make the mark resist drawing decided to work from the photographic source material for the painting. Of course, what I knew from the outset is that my drawing would be reversed in the plate, as the drawing needs to be brought into direct contact with the plate. So it's much easier in this instance then to flip your photographic source material so that the drawing that you make will then come out the other way around in the final print. So having made the mark resist drawing using charcoal on mark resist, I was quite eager to see how the qualities of this would come through in the finished lithograph. This has been exposed onto the litho and been printed onto paper. You can see the edge of the acetate has actually become part of the printed image. And whilst I could have decided to get rid of that, I also thought it was quite a useful addition to the image. The original source material had a strong contrast between light and dark, so I proceeded to start making a series of different layers in the print by making further mark resist image. Here you can see a mark resist has been made with acrylic painted onto mark resist. The black acrylic has now been translated into this transparent chromatic grey, which has gone over the top of the whole drawing. All of this print has been made through combinations of different complementary colours. This one was made with violet combined with yellow. I then decided to add another layer, and this red layer was perhaps too strong. It started to disrupt the image, and as the print proceeded, what I began to appreciate was that I'd not fully sorted out the registration, so there started to be some technical problems with registering the image. This was when I started to go back to some of the original test prints and tried out different colour variations. This is where I'm printing the same background colour on top of the previous layer, this time with the complementary colours orange and blue mixed together to produce this off orange ground. When I made the initial plate, I made a mistake on the plate and ended up cancelling the whole image altogether. But what I was left with is a litho plate which had a ghost of my original mark resist drawing. That meant that I could produce some monotypes which were exactly the same size as the mark resist image. This enabled me to test out a few different colour ideas, and it also enabled me to print some of my lithographic positives on top of the monoprint. This also started to give me new ideas about different ways of combining the colours. One of the things that I began to appreciate was that the image had become far too complicated, and what I needed to do was to start again. So I went back to the original image and inked up the plate with a new colour variation. Again, subtle variations of the original, printing this time on an off-white paper. This time thinking a bit more carefully about the additional layers. So this was a transparent green over the top of the purpley line drawing that I'd made. Also, in this instance, started to play around with a different application of that background. At one point, this print was badly printed. I printed it and then decided to move the paper and print it again. And what that ended up doing was it gave me a double printing. But some of the qualities of the colour did start to give me some further ideas. This was how I decided to resolve this particular series of prints. So this particular image was then editioned. I also tested out some other colourways and decided to edition this one as well. So out of a variety of different mistakes and things that went wrong, I learned a great deal through the process of trial and error. One of those things was the importance of registration right from the outset of the image. The other one was to really problem solve the colour And whilst many of the colours in this print didn't work, the experimentation of layering taught me a great deal about what colour combinations in the future might.